it's Dr. Amanda with StraightSmile Solutions, StraightSmileSolutions.com, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about a big mistake I see doctors make all the time with their cases. It's not just Invisalign, it's any type of aligner cases, StraightSmile, ClearCorrect, although the biggest offenders are Invisalign and ClearCorrect that I see. I see less issues in the smaller companies. But I've definitely talked about this in a zillion lectures and a lot of these YouTube videos, but I feel like people are not getting the story. They're not understanding it. So I'm making another video, and I'll keep making them and kind of plugging them in until you guys get it. But it's your job as a doctor to ensure that the case is articulated correctly to begin with. And in ClearCorrect, it makes it very difficult because they don't have an articulation feature. They don't have a feature where you can see how the the occlusion is. So it's hard to verify. So a lot of cases that I've seen royally screwed up are ones where it wasn't articulated right to begin with. Yes, that's the technicians, but yes, it's also your job to check it. However, they don't give you the tools to check it except for visually. So that's an issue. Let's talk about Invisalign. They do give you the tools to check it. It's your job to check it. Yes, the technician is supposed to set it up right to begin with, but they're just setting it up based on what you're giving them. If you didn't quite scan right, or if there's an error in your scan and you didn't take your photos that match the scan, they put that long diatribe in the right hand corner saying this may or may not be articulated right, but they put that on almost every case. So I always recommend, hence the articulating paper, that when you take your photos for ortho, you use articulating paper first, but the doctor needs to verify that the patient is indeed biting on their back teeth, grinding around, snap the pictures like that so you can see the context. Most Invisalign cases that start should have occlusion on almost all their back teeth, and it's probably even. Hopefully when they're starting, it is like that. It can get wonky during treatment, but they usually start pretty balanced. Most people are, unless there's a major problem. So if you're not seeing that to get started, then, double check, have the doctor double check, right? That means your scan needs to match your photos. You need to make sure everything you're sending them is matching, right? Otherwise, they're not going to set it up right. And even sometimes when it is matching, they still often don't set it up right. I probably see 1 out of every 5 cases or ClinChecks, even with an iTero scan, not articulated correctly. And I don't mean just a little bit not, like grossly not articulating, like they only biting on one tooth. Well, that's not possible. Or the bite is completely floating. There's no occlusion at all. Well, that's not possible. I personally don't understand why Invisalign's QC team doesn't catch these, because it's so egregious, it's so bad, and it's been a problem for so long. They don't catch it, but they defer to you as the doctor. They say it's your job to check that when I ask them. It's your job to check that. Well, guess what? Most doctors don't know that. Now, way back when, we had the same problems where they were finishing with these terrible bites and terrible contacts. Thank goodness now they have that little bitty green and red dot over the occlusion feature. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. That really, really helped, because I was pulling my hair out over that one. So that does help. It's very discreet, but at least you guys can double check your occlusion at the end, but you need to double check your occlusion to start. If they don't set it up right, the teeth aren't going to move right, and you're going to get a weird bite and weird outcome. And you're going to be like, why did it turn out like this? Well, because you didn't do your job as the doctor and check the occlusion to begin with. So that's the number one mistake that's just so preventable. It's just sloppy work, to be honest. But I don't know that doctors are purposely doing it. They just don't know. They're assuming that they already have an iTero. They're assuming that the occlusion was scanned correctly, that these technicians that were paying a ridiculous amount of money for this service are checking these things. Well, ultimately it comes back, it's your job, doc. So you got to check it. So just a reminder out there, take your photos using articulated paper. Make sure the doctor verifies the occlusion. Make sure you verify the occlusion before you even start revising the ClinCheck. Don't even go there until the first thing I do whenever I see a case is I check the occlusion to start and make sure it looks articulated correctly. Very first thing I always do. All right. Happy Monday, everyone. Hopefully that woke you up. Take care.